the Waterloo Board of Adjustment for Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. Is the applicant for number 2, Fager Construction, are they here yet? Okay. So, subject to that correction of moving that request to number 4, do I have approval for the agenda or any other additions or corrections?
So moved as corrected.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of the March 28th, 23 minutes.
I move that we approve the March 28th, 2023 minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we have 4 decision items. The first is a request by JMZ Rentals for a variance to the minimum accessory structure size limit to allow for 2 attached accessory structures to be 12.75 feet wide each, 1.25 feet less than minimum of 14 feet required, in conjunction with the construction of 2 single-family homes on 40-foot wide lots in the R2 1 and 2 family district located at 606 Walgate Avenue. Staff report.
This is Blanco staff. The applicant is requesting a variance to the minimum accessory structure size limit to allow for 2 attached garages to be less than the minimum 14-foot width required at 2 separate single-family homes that would be constructed on the 2 40-foot wide vacant lots. The property is located east of Walgate Avenue and south of Stratford Avenue. The property is zoned R2, 1 and 2 family residence district, and has been zoned as such since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood, as the garage would still be wide enough to fit a vehicle. Sections of the zoning ordinance that pertain to the request, Chapter 5, General Regulations 10.5.1, E1, Residential Accessory Structures. After July 1st, 2015, no single-family dwelling shall be constructed or moved onto a property without a minimum of a 14-foot wide by 20-foot deep accessory structure enclosed on 4 sides, attached or detached, being constructed and maintained. The single-family homes will be located on 40-foot wide properties, which makes it difficult to construct 14-foot wide garages while still providing living space for the homes. The dwellings are proposed to be 30-foot wide, leaving the minimum required side yard setback of 5 feet on each side. Most of the homes in the neighborhood have detached garages rather than attached garages, but the applicant would prefer to build attached, and the narrow lots make it difficult to build them any wider. Lack of reasonable return. There will not appear to be a lack of reasonable return. The applicant could build a 14-foot wide attached or detached garage. There would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the lot is 40-foot wide with 5-foot side yard setbacks required, making the buildable width only 30 feet. The request will not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood, as staff has heard no objections to this request. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by JMZ Rentals for a variance to the minimum accessory structure size limits to allow for 2 attached accessory structures to be 12.75 feet wide each, 1.25 feet less than the minimum 14 feet required, in conjunction with the construction of 2 single-family homes on 40-foot wide lots in the R2 1 and 2 family residence district located south of 606 Walgate Avenue, be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood, as the garage would still be wide enough to fit a vehicle. There would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the lot is 40-foot wide with 5-foot side yard setbacks required, making the buildable width only 30 feet. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood, as staff has heard no objections.
Okay. I have a question, and it may end up going back to the applicant, but if on the floor plan, if you think of the top as being north-south, if you look at the bedroom and to the top right, The outside dimension is 11.8. If you go to the bottom of the garage door, the dimension is 11.9. So are we approving 12.6, 12 and 5/8 or 12 and 3/4? Wouldn't seem like that would be off an inch from front to back. So I need to have that clarified. Second thing is, I'm probably, say this up front, I'm not too excited about approving this. I don't think a 12.5, 12 3/4 foot wide garage is really sufficient for anything. So, and Craig, I don't know, you might be able to back that up.
I will agree that a 12-foot wide garage is pretty narrow, but then again, you got a 24-foot wide garage, and that's a two-stall. So that's 12 for each car.
Okay. So that was my questions.
The measurement will have to be clarified by the applicant. I'm not sure if that's just a mistake on the site plan or what.
Okay.
Well, it looks to me like that, and I know I'm just maybe splitting hairs here, but it looks to me like the garage on the drawing is a tad bit wider than that,
Is what?
is a tad bit wider.
This is Schrader with staff. I'll defer to the applicant if he has additional comments, but are you looking at the floor plan on page 11? Yeah, so the original plan showed 11 foot 9 inches as the width, overall width of the garage.
Then he
There's
added a
like
foot.
The
I
red,
realize that.
red line, and now it says 12 foot 9 inches. 9 inches is converted into a decimal of a foot is 0.75.
0.75.
So
But
that's,
if you go by the 11.8, that's 12.666.
I don't, where's the 11? Oh, over there.
That's at the
Bedroom.
back of the house.
Yeah,
Top of the house.
Yeah.
right.
It's the outside dimension from the outside wall to the inside wall. I'm not sure. The walls look straight up and down. So I just want a clarification. Is it 12, going to be 12.8 or 12.9?
And I think another good question might be inside dimension, because I think that's what it's showing in the back of the garage would be the 9'3" and the 1'9". Presumably that's before the expanded 1 foot. So that would
I guess the other
suggest
question
an
is, are
inside
these-
dimension of 12.
Are these 2x4 or 2x6 walls?
I'm not sure.
I have to ask the applicant.
I guess I'm wondering what's the difference.
What?
I'm wondering what the difference is.
What difference? But I'm
Well,
bringing
I
up-
mean, why we're concerned that the garage might be drawn as wider on the blueprint than the bedroom.
It doesn't look like it's drawn wider, though. That's my point.
Well, but yeah, I understand that, but
You see the red line? Are you
I know,
taking that
I'm not
into-
counting
you're
that
taking
at this point.
Are you taking
Plus
that
the
into
foot,
account?
plus the foot.
well, there's only, if you look, there's only an inch difference.
But it's, the request is for 12.75.
I think the applicant's on line.
Yeah, it's on Zoom, I believe.
Yeah, just a second, we'll be right with you.
Well, but the 12.75 is the red line, right?
That's the way I'm.
You add a foot to the 11.8 on the top,
11, yeah, that's 12 feet, 8 inches.
which is 12 and 5/8, not 12 and 3/4. So,
No, it's 12 and 2/3. I'm sorry, 11 feet, 8 inches would be 11 feet, 0.67.
well, that's what I want a clarification, but that would seem odd. They would, but, is there any other questions of staff before we go to the applicant? Okay, the applicant is on. Are you on Zoom?
Hi,
You need to
yeah,
state your
I'm on
name,
Zoom. My name is Mike Hayward.
okay? Can you talk up a little bit? I can barely hear you.
Yep, so for your clarification, the wall in the back, those bedrooms that goes from the outside of a 2x6 wall to the center of a 2x4 wall. The front dimension goes from the outside of a 2x6 wall to the center of a 2x6 wall. So that's where you're getting off the inch. Basically, what we're requesting is that by moving the wall over to the red line, that would basically give us a 12-foot clear dimension on the interior of the garage, regardless of the framing dimensions. Our goal is to achieve the 12-foot interior clear span.
Okay, so the lower measurements, okay. So that would be the inch difference.
Yep, yep.
All right. Would you, is there a reason why you would not request a variance to the side yard requirement and get the dimensions from that rather than leave it at 12.8, 12.9?
I didn't speak to staff directly about side yard setbacks. Based on my knowledge, typically the side yard setbacks are in place for more of a fire code, keeping distance between structures so that fire doesn't transfer from one to another. So that's where I thought that would be more favorable to shrink down the living space rather than request a side yard variance.
All right. Any other questions?
Mr. Hayworth, real quickly, the schematic blueprint, whatever you want to call it, that we're looking at, both of these structures will be identical to what we're looking at?
Correct. Both structures will be the same.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else wish to speak in favor of the request? Does anybody want to speak against the request? Hearing or seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the request by JMZ Reynolds for variance to the minimum accessory structure size limits to allow for 2 attached accessory structures to be 12.75 feet wide each, 1.25 feet less than the minimum 14 feet required in conjunction with the construction of 2 single-family homes on 40-foot wide lots in the R2 1 and 2 family residence district located south of 606 Walgate Avenue, be approved for the following reasons. Number 1, the request would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood, as the garage would still be wide enough to fit a vehicle. Number 2, there would appear to be a uniqueness to the request, as the lot is 40-foot wide with 5-foot side yard setbacks required, making the buildable width only 30 feet. And number 3, the request would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood, as staff has heard no objections.
Second.
Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Passed.
So we're going to jump to 3, right?
Okay, a request by David Kruger for a variance to the accessory structure setback requirement to allow for a setback of 10 inches, 2 feet, 2 inches less than a minimum of 3 feet required to allow for construction of a new 16 by 20, 320 square foot detached accessory structure in the R1 and 2 family district located at 129 Byron Avenue. Staff report.
Ms. Dornoff with staff, the applicant is requesting approval of a setback variance to allow for a replacement of existing accessory structure with a new one of similar setback. The property is located at 129 Byron Avenue. The property in question, as well as all the surrounding properties, are zoned R2, 1-2 family residence district, have been zoned as such since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood. There appears to be several properties in the area that have garages that would not meet today's 3-foot required setback requirement. Section of zoning code that pertains to this request, chapter 10-5-1E, accessory structures. Accessory structure shall be a distance of at least 5 feet from the alley lines, at least 5 feet from lot lines of adjoining lots, and at least 3 feet from principal permitted use on said lot, except the accessory structure in the rear 60% of the lot may be erected 3 feet from any interior lot line, and on corner lots, they shall conform to the setback regulations on corner lots as provided by 10-5-1F. The applicant is requesting variance to construct a new 16 by 20, 320 square foot detached accessory structure with a side yard setback of 10 inches, 2 feet, 2 inches less than the required 3 feet for a detached accessory structure. Staff does have concerns of in the aerial image that the garage to be over the property line, although aerial images can be off, and the applicant has given us a setback, 10-inch setback number, and it will be their responsibility to ensure that they are 10 inches from the property line. The original garage was built in 1950, and there appears to be several others in the immediate neighborhood that appear to have similar or even smaller setbacks as the one being proposed. The applicants will need to ensure that drainage from the accessory structure does not drain onto neighboring property, and that the structure does not have any overhang or gutters that extend over the property line. The applicants will need to ensure that they are maintaining the 3-foot setback from the residence. Criteria: lack of reasonable return. There would not appear to be a lack of reasonable return. The applicant could build a garage that would meet the setback requirements. Uniqueness: there would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the applicants are replacing the existing accessory structure with a similar setback, and there are many other accessory structures in the surrounding neighborhood with similar setbacks. Public considerations: approval of the variance would not appear to have a negative impact on the area, as there are several other accessory structures that appear to have similar setbacks, and staff has heard no objections. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by David Kruger for a variance to the accessory structure setback requirements to allow for a 10-inch setback of 10 inches, 2 feet, 2 inches less than the minimum 3 feet required, to allow for construction of a new 16 by 20, 320 square foot detached accessory structure in the R2 1 and 2 family residence district located at 129 Byron Avenue be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact to surrounding area, as proposed garage setback is the same as the existing garage. There would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the original garage was built in 1950, and the applicants are requesting a similar setback as the current garage, and there appears to be several others in the neighborhood with similar setbacks.
So I guess I have a question is, are you asking them to prove that it will be, are you asking for a survey, I guess I probably should say, to make sure it is where it,
No, they will, they said they know where the pins are, and we're able to, and they have measured for the 10 inches from the,
okay.
so.
Well, and if you look at the aerial photo, it looks like the one that's there now is canted a little. It's not straight.
Yeah,
I guess to follow up with Brad's question, are there any checks and balances in place to, I mean, you.
the building department will be inspecting it, so.
You showed some concern about whether they're gonna meet that 10-inch in
Yeah.
a line.
So, yeah, we will, I mean, the building department will be checking that when they inspect the building.
Okay.
You know what the size of the garage is now?
Okay,
You gotta come up to the mic.
yeah, give your name and address, please.
Do I have to hit a button?
Nope,
I'm Dave Kruger at 129 Byron, and the original garage was 20 long by 14 wide. When I had put an addition on the house, we lopped off a portion of the garage to accommodate the 3-foot distance from the house. And that's why it's an L-shaped garage now. It's got a chunk cut out of it. So the front end of the garage is maybe 10 foot wide and the rear is 14 foot wide.
So you're moving it back a little bit then?
Yeah, back where that, if you look on the picture, where that L is, I want to set the whole garage back to that. So I'm going to move it back about, I think that's 8 feet, I believe. So it'll be a little bit further off the street or toward the alley.
I guess that was another one of my questions. By moving that structure back 8 feet, is it going to, or is there going to be any issues with the distance from the back of the garage to the alley? Plenty of space? Okay.
I just like a whole garage for once. It's not even a double, it's, it's garage and a half, basically.
Real quick, Mr. Kruger, there's a black metal decorative type fence between both garages.
There's a grill sitting in there.
Okay, I mean, I take it you've visited with your neighbor and.
Oh, between the garages.
Between the two garages.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's actually not black metal, it's the waste cans, garbage.
If you look at this picture, you look past see
Yeah,
that fence
right in there?
Yeah.
That's those dark blue yard waste cans with black lids.
No, behind
The
it.
grills that have that.
Yeah, the fencing at the
See the
back.
fencing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's just
Who's the owner of that?
that fencing piece,
Yes.
I put it in there.
You did, okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
But it's just got a couple steel stakes holding it up. It's not permanent
It's
by any
obviously
means.
gonna go away.
I had people trying to run through there all the time,
All right,
kids, and so I stuck that up to kind of slow down the traffic.
okay.
This is Schrader with staff. I would just like the applicant to address what you're proposing for any sort of overhang and gutter system, because you're proposing the building to be 10 inches off the line. You can't sheet run water directly onto your neighbor's property, so you're going to have to address that, but you also can't overhang that property. So are
Right.
you proposing like
Well, it'll
a
be a
6-inch
short-
overhang?
Yeah, it'd be
and the
like a
gutter?
6-inch overhang with a
With the
gutter
gutter
to run
past that.
toward the alley.
Okay, anything else? So on the aerial map, what is to the left of I know you said you put an addition on, what's behind that? Is that a patio or?
There's a deck, yes, a deck.
Okay. So to get the 3 feet that's required, you're not willing to move it 2 feet to the west? Is that what you're trying not to do?
Well, how close can I be to the deck? I need some room to walk through there. It's 12 by 14 now. I'm planning on moving it a foot closer to that deck and start the garage where that L is and go,
Oh, you're not moving it completely back, okay,
no.
all right.
I'm moving it a little to the west, but I can't get 12 by 16 in there without almost getting to the deck.
All right,
I think those squares on that graph paper are 2 foot each square. So if I move it over 2 feet, I'll still have 4 feet to the deck.
okay,
You see that?
yeah,
And I need to stay 3 feet from the corner of the house there. I have a set of stairs coming down there, steps. Yes,
all right.
it's tight.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak in favor of the request? Is there anybody wish to speak against the request? Hearing or seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the request by David Kruger for a variance to the accessory structure setback requirement to allow for a setback of 10 inches, 2 feet, 2 inches less than the minimum 3 feet required, to allow for construction of a new 16 by 20 foot, 320 square foot detached accessory structure in the R2 1 and 2 family residence district located at 129 Byron Avenue, for the following reasons. One, the request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding area, as the proposed garage setback will be the same as the existing garage. Two, there would appear to be a uniqueness to this request, as the original garage was built in 1950, and the applicant is requesting a similar setback as the current garage has, and there appears to be several others in the neighborhood with similar setbacks. And three, the applicant will ensure that any drainage from the accessory structure does not drain onto the neighboring property, and that the structure does not have an overhang or gutters that extend over the property line. The applicant will also need to ensure that they are maintaining a 3-foot setback from the residence.
Second?
I just have a question. Requesting a similar setback, but was that correct terminology? Since he is moving it. I mean, am I being too technical there?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be similar to the existing structure. That's what we're kind of comparing it to, so.
Well, it doesn't appear there's any setback now, right?
There's 10 inches from.
Oh, there is?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, the aerial's off.
Okay.
Actually, between the two garages, there's 40 inches. You know, so if the property line is in the middle, we'll say, there's 20 inches between each. If you go property line to the garage, there'd be 20 inches of setback. Is that the proper term, setback from the property line?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's 40 inches between those two garages on the front end. On the back end, it's probably a little less than that. Mine's leaning, so I know at the top, there's probably less than that. But,
Okay.
pardon me? Yes, yeah, that's the idea. Does that help you out? Kind of clear that up?
Well, I guess I was going by the fact that our discussion is looks like the roof overhangs into the lot anyway. So I thought you were moving at 10. So that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So we're going to do number 4 now and then come back to number 2.
Correct.
Request by CGA on behalf of Babick Properties LLC for a variance to the rear yard setback requirements to allow for an 8-foot rear yard setback, 12 feet less than the 20 feet required for the purpose of constructing a new fourplex in the R2 multiple district located south of 3633 Ravenwood Circle. Staff report.
This starting off with staff, the applicant is requesting approval of a setback variance to construct a new fourplex with front-loaded driveways that will face the long-dimensioned building line, but would only have an 8-foot rear yard setback because is the opposite of the narrow dimension street frontage. The property is located on Ravenwood Circle, south of Ravenwood Road, and is zoned R3 multiple residence district, and has been zoned as such since the adoption of zoning ordinance 2677 on May 6, 1974. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the neighborhood, as the area is made up of other multifamily housing, and the proposed development would appear to be similar and compatible with surrounding development. Section of the zoning ordinance that pertains to this request, Section 5, General Regulations 10-10-3, Bulk Regulations. The rear yard setback in an R3 1 and 2 family residence district is 20 feet. The property in question is located along Ravenwood Circle, just south of 3633 Ravenwood Circle. The lot in question is a corner lot where the narrow dimension front yard is located along the west property line. Therefore, the rear yard is considered to be along the east property line. The applicant's site plan shows a fourplex that will have the frontage along the long dimension property line where Ravenwood Circle turns east-west. The applicant is requesting an 8-foot setback along the east property line with the adjacent building to the east being located 20 feet from the property line. The building would meet all other setback requirements of the zoning ordinance. The setback along the east is the required rear yard, but because the building will face south, the east setback will actually function as a side yard. Criteria: lack of reasonable returns, or would not appear to be a lack of reasonable returns. Request the applicant could build a building to meet the setback requirements. 2, uniqueness. There would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the applicant is planning to construct the building facing south, which is along the longer dimension street frontage. The standard side yard setback requirement in the R3 multiple residence district is 5 foot, which the building would meet. Public consideration: approval of the variance would not appear to have a negative impact on the area. There has been no opposition to the request. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by CGA on behalf of Baybig Properties LLC for a variance to the rear yard setback requirement to allow for an 8-foot rear yard setback, 12 foot less than the 20 foot required for the purpose of constructing a new fourplex in the R3 multiple residence district located south of 3633 Ravenwood Circle be approved for the following reasons. Number 1, the request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding neighborhood. 2, there would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the applicant is planning to construct a building facing south, which is along the longer dimension street frontage.
Questions? So you've got in here, it's facing south, that isn't, it's facing,
No, face south. Front of the building would face south.
Yep.
guess I'm backwards then.
In the front of the lot, but actually face west, is that right?
This is the front of the building, these are
Required front yard is the west.
That's, right.
Yeah, required front yards to west.
That's what I'm getting at, yeah.
So the building is facing south.
So in this
Isn't that
case, the
west?
rear yard you're talking about is gonna be the side yard of the building.
Correct.
South, east, west.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, does anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor of the request? Are you one of you, the applicants? You don't have to, but if you,
I had submitted it on behalf of the applicant. I figured the applicant would be here today, but
Your name, sir?
Larry Kuzman with Clapsaddle Garber Associates, CGA.
does anybody have any questions?
No?
I guess not.
Thanks anyway.
Anybody wish to speak against the request? Okay,
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the request by CGA on behalf of Babic Properties LLC for a variance to the rear yard setback requirement to allow for an 8-foot rear yard setback, 12 feet less than the 20 feet required for the purpose of constructing a new fourplex in the R3 multiple residence district located south of 3633 Ravenwood Circle for the following reasons. Number 1, the request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding neighborhood. Number 2, there would appear to be uniqueness to the request as the applicant is planning to construct the building facing south, which is along the longer dimension street frontage. Number 3, there have been no objections to this project.
Second?
okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead?
Yep, go ahead with.
Request by Fager
Wait a
Construction.
minute, are you,
Yeah, that's me. I appreciate you.
Oh, I thought you were together. Okay. Okay. A request by Faber Construction doing business as Deck Works, Cedar Valley, on behalf of Eric Birch for a variance to the side yard setback requirements to allow for a side yard setback of 6.5 feet, 2 feet less than the 8.5 feet required in the R1 1 and 2 family district located at 4662 Hoff Road. Staff report.
This is blank with staff. The applicant is requesting a variance to the side yard setback to allow for the construction of a 10-foot by 24-foot, 240 square foot deck in the side yard. The property is located along Hoff Road Avenue and north of Tetton Drive. The property in question is zoned R1 1 and 2 family residence district and has been zoned as such since the adoption of the zoning ordinance in 1969. The request will not appear to have a negative impact upon the surrounding neighborhood and land use in the area, as the applicant is proposing an open deck. Sections of the zoning ordinance that pertain to the request, the Chapter 8 R1 1 and 2 family residence district 1083 bulk regulations. The R1 district requires a side yard setback of 10% of the lot width, but is not required to exceed 10 feet. The lot in question is 85 feet wide at the building line, requiring a side yard setback of 8.5 feet. The applicant is requesting to construct a 10-foot by 24-foot, 240 square foot deck in the required side yard at 4662 Hoff Road. The new deck will extend 2.5 feet into the 8.5 foot required setback on the north side of the home. Similar requests have come before the Board of Adjustment in the past. On June 28, 2011, the Board of Adjustment approved a request for a deck to be built with a 0-foot side yard setback, 8.5 feet less than the requirement at 171 Lovejoy Avenue. On August 26, 2008, the Board of Adjustment approved a request for a freestanding deck to be built with a 0-foot rear yard and side yard setback at 3398 Mount Vernon Avenue. There would not appear to be a lack of reasonable return to the request, as the applicant could construct a deck that would meet the side yard setback requirements. There would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the deck will not be covered or enclosed, and the house to the north is approximately 30 feet from the property line. There has been no opposition to this request. Therefore, staff recommends that the request by Fager Construction, DBA Deckworks, Cedar Valley, on behalf of Eric Birch for a variance to the side yard setback requirement to allow for a side yard setback of 6.5 feet, 2 feet less than the 8.5 feet required in the R1 1 and 2 family residence district located at 4662 Hoff Road, be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have negative impact upon the surrounding neighborhood and land use in the area, as the applicant is proposing an uncovered deck. There would appear to be uniqueness to the request, as the deck will not be covered or enclosed, and the house to the north is approximately 30 feet from the property line, and there has been no opposition to the request.
Okay. Any questions of staff? Okay. Would the applicant wish to speak?
My name is Eric Birch at 4662 Hoff. Deckworks wasn't able to come today. I just spoke with my neighbors and had them all sign notarized letters explaining that they know what I was going to do, and to further indicate that there wasn't any opposition to the request.
Okay. Any questions?
Do you like these?
I have a couple of questions for Eric. I'm just trying to get my head around this, okay? So I'm looking, Agnes, if that's you down there, can you pull up let's start with page 18. There, photo on page 18. There you go. Okay, there is a fence. Let's try page 16. That probably shows it better. The deck that you're proposing to build will be within the confines of the fence we're looking at?
The fence will be moving, I think it's 6 or 8 feet to the east. So it'll be coming out towards the front of the house
Okay, okay.
to accommodate for the
Because
deck.
the deck is gonna come around from the back along the,
Correct. It'll be
North
running
side of
on-
the house?
It'll be on the north side of the house,
okay, so that portion of the fence we're looking at is coming
towards it.
towards the front of the house,
Correct.
but you won't be going any further north with the fence.
No, no,
Okay.
the north end, or the north run of fence is remaining where it is. We're just extending it this direction.
Okay, all right. So there's nothing to do with the tree that's sitting there?
No.
That stays where it is?
We're not going any further to the north, towards the neighbor's yard.
All right, helps a lot, thank you.
Okay, is that it?
I got nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak in favor of the request? Anybody wish to speak against the request? Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move that we approve the request by Fager Construction, DBA Deckworks, Cedar Valley, on behalf of Eric Birch for a variance to the side yard setback requirement to allow for a side yard setback of 6.5 feet, 2 feet less than the 8.5 feet required in the R1, 1 and 2 family district, residence district, located at 4662 Huff Road. Be approved for the following reasons. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the surrounding neighborhood and the land use in the area, as the applicant is proposing an uncovered deck. There would appear to be a uniqueness in the request, as the deck will not be covered and enclosed, and the house to the north is approximately 30 feet from the property line. There has not been any opposition to this request.
Second.
Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Okay, is there any, I'm gonna make just a quick comment. I went to the wrong property for that that fourplex. That's why I'm confused on the dimension. I was looking at the other end of the block, and
Yeah, there's a vacant lot there.
yeah,
too,
that's what I was looking at, and I kept saying, well, how in the world can that be south? I'm not a total idiot. Well, I am, because I went to the wrong lot, but, you know,
No, it's because your
You're
surgery.
excused.
yeah, okay.
That's easy to do.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
When is your surgery?
June 9th?
And will you be available to come to the June meeting?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I might be in a wheelchair or something, but I'll try.
Okay.
They tell me I'll be up and walking right away.
You will be,
You
but you'll
will.
be tired as heck,
Oh, okay.
so.
You will be up and climbing steps that same day.
Okay.
That's
That'll
why
be
you're
neat.
gonna be tired.
Bring a pillow.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.